Greetings! So this is going to be, I guess you could say round 2, because I screwed up when I was doing this initially. Did an hour-long video and realized that I forgot to set my mic. So it was an hour of me not making any noise whatsoever. Kind of annoying, but that's why I am now drinking. One, to stay hydrated. Two, I'm disappointed that I talked for an hour straight about a new board game I bought and realized I didn't have a mic, so there's no salvaging that at all. So, but I ended up then popping a lot of pretty much all the chits out and all that other stuff, so I popped all the boards, but I'll still go over it. So this is a game I played at Con. The Legends of a Drift system. So it was really great at Con. It took us 5 hours to play with 5 people, so it's a very long game, even though it says 1 to 3 hours. Granted, 5 of the moderator was helping us. The moderator jumped in after my buddy who actually got killed left, because he's like, it's midnight, I want to go to sleep. So he wasn't pissed or anything, he really liked the game, but the moderator took over for him, and it still took us another 2 hours to beat the game, or at least declare a winner. So this is Zia. It's a beautiful game, and let's go over see what's in it. Not that I don't know, because I've already opened the damn thing. You know what? Let's place this exactly where it was before. Lovely. So first off, I'm actually going to do some different order than I did before, because now I have all the pieces open. So here's your scorecard. Bam. So you can play to 5, 10, 15, 20. We played to 15, and it took 5 of us 5 hours to play to 15. So it can be a very, very long game, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And this is your fame point track. And basically, you start at 0. Everyone starts at 0. And once you gain some fame, you get interesting titles like your Space Scum when you get your first fame point. But if you play to 15, you are a dangerous marauder, but the pièce de résistance. If you make it to 20, if you play to 20, you are a legendary legend. And then you also see there's some, fame point, but then there's a little card here. So this is a title card that comes out in the game, and so on and so forth. Only one person can get a title. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But mainly in this game, you have ships. So let's set these up. I'm not going to tell you what every single ship does. I'll just show you some of the ship basics. So every ship, you know what? Let me pull those out. Let me pull the. There's actually a solo game. There's some rules for a solo game. I've never played the solo game, so I have no idea what it entails. So I'm not going to go over that at all. But you have your ships, and as you can see, your ships have various configurations with their hold. Any empty space in your hold can be used to hold cargo. Makes sense. Or resources that you'll gather in the game. All right, so they're all different. They're all cool. They're all unique. They're all different, and there you have it. So now here is where you would equip, like you'd buy your engine. So this is your basic engine piece. It's a D6 engine. It means you get to roll a 6-sided die and you get to move that many hexes. But it's got a unique shape, which means you have to, with the hold you actually have to Tetris this in. So you can't put it like that, because you're covering an area that's not a hold area. So you're going to have to cover it like so. And that now limits, you can now move faster than your initial 3, which is your impulse engine, just 3. And that's once every turn. So now with your engines, you got an engine there. You can use one of your armed pieces, which are just your chits here. You come with all 4 armed and full energy. You place an armed on your engine piece, roll your d6, you can move that many times. And you have as many activations as you have, basically, areas you can block with your cylindrical pieces here. So this engine, your basic engine's got 3 activations, and you can move up to 6 depending on what you roll. Then they go to the disarmed, and then you can burn energy in order to arm them again. But basically you can only do that at the end of your turn. So basically if you got your basic engine, which I think you start the game with 4,000 space bucks, so I think your ship's 1,000. Actually, your ship might be free, but I think it's 1,000. Might be free. And then all these, this engine's 1,000 space bucks, so, and that configuration stuff like that. So you can arm it 3 times, and if you got blasters, you can arm a blaster. Here's your blaster. I'll get the basic blaster. It's also a D6, so it can do a D6 of damage. It's only got 2 activations, but you're going to have to Tetris that piece in there too. And then you're going to have shields. So these are all the things I punched as I was wrapping up having failed film for an hour. So, yeah. And then I'm like, I'll get some beer. We'll try it again. So here's your shield, which you're also going to have to Tetris in here. So if you put your shield in the middle, granted, you can reconfigure, you can move this around a little bit if you make a mistake and you get it. No one's really going to care. I mean, if you've been space trucking for a bit and you're like, oh, I want to rearrange, you can't do that. If you buy something new, you can, like, say you buy, this shield, you want to, like, oh, I want a better shield. You can buy a better shield and you can reconfigure your entire ship. That's fine. But just randomly reconfiguring it is a no-no, except when you're first starting out. So this is a shield. It's got a D6 again, so almost all your basic stuff is D6. But it's only got 2 activations. So you move 3 with that engine I showed you earlier, and then someone shoots at you, you want to use your shield, that's all your activations. Now you can only do stuff that requires energy or is free. Mining is free. Scanning the next sector to reveal it costs 1 energy. So yeah, then you can use your impulse to move 3 spaces for the ship. Impulse engines are different for each ship. Some have 3, some have 4 for your tier 1. And then with 5,000 space bucks, you know what? Let me cover this other thing real quick. Let me get to these things. So here is all, and then you get a card. So for whatever spaceship you get, so say you get this guy. This is the Ghost Stalker. It comes with your Ghost Stalker card. Now this is an ability you can use once a turn. So the Ghost Stalker's turn, you roll a d20, you spend 2 energy, so you're going to go from 8 to 6, and roll a d20. You roll 1 to 8, nothing happens. You roll 9 to a 19, you can bypass planetary shield defenses. You can bypass 1 of them without consequence. If you roll a 20, you can bypass 2 without consequence, and that makes a big difference, as I'll explain going forward. So then you spend 5,000 space bucks, and you can get some of these cool tier 2 ships, which are bigger. They have a completely different configuration, but any engine, shields, or blasters, or anything you have on your tier 1 ship, once you buy a tier 2 ship, they automatically come with you, so you don't have to buy any new parts for your ship. They just come with. So, I mean, you got all these different kinds of ships. Depending on what you want to do, you might want to do a different ship. This one's got a huge, this is hold 14. One I just showed is a 13. This is a 14. It's also a pretty big one. You got this guy, which is a 13. And then you got this last one, which is a 14. So you got a bunch of various different kinds you can get. So, and this ability for, like I was saying, for the Ghost Stalker, the tier 1 ship, you can only use that 1 a turn. So once it's turned, you got to flip that card over. You can't use it again until you pass. Then basically everything replenishes, so on and so forth. But when you get your tier 2 ship, you get an additional card. So you started with the Ghost Stalker, and you bought this the Bitter Karma. So you come that Bitter Karma, you have the Ghost Stalker, and you have the Bitter Karma ability. You have both of the abilities. And the Bitter Karma's abilities is just a random one. So for EMP Burst, so target all adjacent ships to which you have line of sight. As an action, spend 2 energy and roll a d20. So it's going to cost you 2 energy. 1 to 4, nothing happens. A 5 to a 13, target ship loses 2 energy and are dealt 1 damage. If you roll 14 to a 19, target ship loses 3 energy and are dealt 2 damage. You roll a 20, target ship loses 4 energy and is dealt 3 unblockable damage. So the unblockable is important because with the shields, someone blasts you with a blaster for a d6, say they roll 5. You activate your shields. You can't if they're all disarmed, but you can activate, if you have activations, you can activate your shield, say you roll 6. You blocked all their damage. You're good. So the 2 of these are blockable damage. You can use shields to bypass them, but if they roll 20, it's unblockable damage, which comes up later in the game, so it's very important to keep track of. Unblockable versus blockable. If you take any damage, they get one of these little icons, and they actually go on your ship into your areas of your ship. So you can place them anywhere you want, but then those squares are kind of eaten up. So say you place the 3 damage you just took, you place on your engine. If you place over any part of your engine that's got, you know, a slot, got a little cylindrical thing, you know, a little slot where you put your cylindrical chit, you can't activate that again. But you are allowed to damage areas that have already been activated. So you basically aren't going to lose anything. Just when the activations go to disarmed, the damage stays, and now you can't use them again. And you can do it over cargo and all that stuff. It's really not going to hurt you. But if you damage an area that doesn't have anything in it, you can't put anything in it. So, and they got a huge bag worth of damage. Kind of nice. But, so tier 1 ships, you know, they got holds 12, maybe 10, 9, like the one I was showing you. It only takes 1,000. It only costs 1,000 space bucks to repair your entire ship. So you're not going to go completely broke repairing your ship. It's not like you're going to be burning. You took 3 damage there for that example. It's not like you're going to be burning 1,000 per. However, that was a tier 2 ship, so it's 2,000 space bucks to repair your entire ship. So it's not going to be 6,000 to repair that 3 energy, that 3 damage. It's just going to be 2,000 space bucks. And then when you get, I think, 8 grand, and you have to go tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3. You cannot bypass tier 2. You have to go all of them. Oh, a little wet. I don't want to touch my cards. So here's your tier 3 ships, which are badass, and they all come with really awesome abilities. And they're generally bigger. A lot of their impulse engines are smaller than their tier 2 equivalents or even their tier 1. So the bigger the ship, the less distance your impulse engines will go. So these are all, I mean, look at that. These are all, that's the Manchester, so it's got a lot of good cargo. But then you see on the back, which I didn't talk about earlier, each ship has kind of like a little backstory, a little victory story, and got some, you know, random stats on there too. So each ship has a backstory, which is kind of cool. So say you upgraded, now we're going to go with the slow leak. So you upgraded from your Ghost Stalker, so you still have the ability to bypass planetary shields. You went to the Bitter Karma, which means basically you got an EMP burst, which you can hit people, and if you roll 20, do some unblockable damage. You can do all of that, but now that you upgrade to the slow leak, your abilities are even worse. So the slow leak has a shockwave, damage and repel nearby ships. So target all adjacent ships. So the Bitter Karma was target. Oh no, this also says target all adjacent ships. So actually going from Bitter Karma to the slow leak, actually not a bad idea. So this is the shock, so you basically can do it twice. So target all adjacent ships to which you have line of sight. As an action, spend 3 energy, roll a d20. On a 1 to 4, nothing happens. 5 to 11, target ships are dealt 3 damage and are pushed away 1 space. So 1 hex. They all take, but you know, it's 3 damage. It does not say unblockable, so they can use shields to block some of that damage. 12 to 19, target ships are dealt 5 damage and are knocked away 2 spaces. And if you roll a 20, target ships are dealt 7 damage and are pushed away from your ship 3 spaces. So basically, this is a tactical nuke. At the end of the game, where people are getting close, if you say you chose 15 like we did in our game, people are getting really close to the end of the game. Because if you kill a tier 3 ship, you get 3 victory points. You get 3 fame points right there. So, say there's a gaggle of them, all 4 other players, you go last. All 4 players, they're just shooting each other left and right, trying to do as much damage so they can win the game. You can roll up in there, nuke all of them, do a bunch of damage, and maybe kill all of them, and you get 3 points. If they're all tier 3, you can get 3 fame points per ship you destroy. So that can take you from 10 to winning the game if you plan it very well. So as you upgrade your ships, you keep your base abilities and you gain your new abilities in your new ship. All the stuff you've bought, you purchased for your ship, your shields, your shields, your engines, your blasters, missiles, anything like that, all that carries through onto your new ship. So that's pretty cool. So then we come up, there's a couple NPC ships. There's a merchant one in here, which I'm not going to dig through the pile to find. So the merchant one basically just randomly goes from point A to point B, trading. And once it succeeds and gets to point A, it gets 1,000 space bucks and then goes on to point B. Hits point B, it's got 2,000 space bucks on it. You can attack it, and if you do, you become an outlaw if you're not already. And then other people can hunt you down because there's no penalty for that. So this is your scoundrel. So this is an NPC ship. This is an outlaw ship. It's got a skull there. Comes out when a certain planet is explored. And it does certain things based on what's around it. So, and these activate. So, I think how we played it after the first person went, the merchant ship would activate. After the second person went, which was me at that game, the scoundrel would activate. After the third person went, the enforcer would go. Basically your space police. And I think there's one other one. After the fourth one, something else happened too. So. They go every time. They go every time after the player they're designated for. So there will never be a time where the scoundrel does not go, or the enforcer does not go, or the merchant ship doesn't move towards its next merchant destination. So, but the scoundrel, it attacks non-outlaw characters. So if you're an outlaw, it ain't gonna do nothing to you. But it can never target the enforcer. But the enforcer can actually kill the scoundrel. So go figure. But, so if the scoundrel is attacked, it's going to target the one who most recently attacked it. Otherwise, unless they're too far away. 2 sectors is for the scoundrel. So if no ships are targeted, it basically just stays at Loath, which is the planet that shows this guy pops up on. So move. It will move. So if it sees an innocent, so basically you're either innocent or you're an outlaw in this game. So if the scoundrel, if you're within 2 sectors... which I'll get into a second what the sectors are. If you're within 2 sectors, scoundrel will move towards you. And if you're innocent, scoundrel will move towards you, and it'll attack. If it attacks you, it'll then move back 8 spaces back towards Loath. And it starts with a 2,000 point bounty, so you can actually hunt this thing down if you're innocent, or if you're an outlaw, doesn't really matter. But if you're innocent and you kill this, you get its bounty, and you're not considered an outlaw. If you're an outlaw and you kill this, congratulations, you got its bounty, and yeah, you're still an outlaw. The only way, once you're an outlaw, the only way to stop being an outlaw is if your ship is destroyed, or you upgrade your ship to a new ship. That is the only way you can stop being an outlaw. So then you have the enforcer. It's kind of the antithesis of the scoundrel. It shows up when Kemplar 2 is discovered, and it'll acquire a target. It'll acquire outlaw targets. Unless it was attacked, which I think makes you an outlaw when you attack it. But whoever last attacked it, it'll target you unless you're more than 2 sectors away. Otherwise, if no one attacked it, it'll target the closest outlaw. That's up to 1 sector away. If no ship is targeted, the outlaw, it'll just stay at... Actually, no. If no ship's targeted, enforcer targets most distant lawful planet and basically starts flying off towards there. And it moves up to 6 spaces. So... But it's got missiles. So I talked about blasters. Blasters, you have to be adjacent to shoot someone in the face. Missiles, you can be at range. So this has missiles. So if you're 2 to 6 spaces away, the enforcer is from you and you're an outlaw, it's going to fire missiles at you. You can block them with shields, but it sucks. That happened to me for a while. It just sucks. Oh, here's the merchant. So merchant just pops up, and it goes from... It's got a specified trade route on the back of the card. It goes from point A to point B. Every time it hits one of a new planet on its trade route, it gets 1,000 more space bucks. So then when you attack it, right off the bat, it starts with 1,000 space bucks. You attack it, hey, great, you're an outlaw, and it's worth 1,000 bucks to you. If you wait till it does a whole bunch of them, it could have 5,000 space bucks on it. Much more worth your time. But basically, this won't do anything. This is go from point A to point B, and really do nothing else. And you get a bunch of player turns, so... But here's sectors. So this is a sector in space, and there's a whole stack of them. There'll be a default starting ones, but then basically you go to the edge, spend energy, scan, you find a new one. So this one is a very special portal. I'm glad this was the first one. Lovely. So there's other portals in the game. Most portals allow you to teleport across the galaxy. Or across the solar system, whatever. This one randomly dumps you out. You roll a d20. Here's a spawn point. and whichever one you roll, you go to it. So, and this one, you know, yeah, this one is just whoever goes through this first gets a fame point. On the other portals, whoever goes through those first gets a space point, a fame point. But this is a special one, so you get a fame point for going through this, even if you've gone through the other one. So, but this one will dump you out a random place, and a lot of the sectors, this is a whole sector. So when I talked about the Enforcer for 2 sectors or the Scoundrel for 2 sectors, that's what these are, sectors. One of these is a whole sector. So a lot of them will have a number. So when you're spawning, you roll D20, and if you roll 19, you'll spawn right here. If you go through the Tigris gate and roll a 19, you'll go right here. So basically you travel nowhere, so this is a risk, but it's interesting. This is a smuggler's den, so it's an outlaw planet. So there's a little, you see this planetary boundary around it, and then there's kind of like a little gate. It's exactly what it is. So the Ghost Stalker, where I said it could bypass planetary defenses, that's this planetary shield. That's this shield. And without consequence, which is the key. You of your own volition, cross into an outlaw world, which this is, you are now an outlaw. However, with the Ghost Stalker's ability, if I come in and roll and bypass this shield, I can do all the trading here I want, and I will not be an outlaw. However, if I exit through here, outlaw. So I actually might only be when you exit. No, I think it's when you enter or exit you become an outlaw. So if I go in here, because of my ability, I can buy any resource in the game. You got green is Terra. Most of the time you can only buy one thing in one place and sell another in that same place. This one you can buy all of them. And in the other, there's only one other outlaw planet in the game. And this one you can buy all of the resources. On that planet you can sell all the resources. Everywhere else it's pretty much you can buy one and sell another. So, and then blue is, so green is Terra, blue is Plasma, H is Hollow, I like calling it Hydrogen for whatever reasons, purple is Cypher, I didn't make up these names, and orange is Spice from Arrakis. That is very important because spice, it's the spice of life. So, but then you also notice that there's some asteroids around here. Those can damage you. It's bad. So let me get up another asteroid one. So I don't want to talk about that one because that one's uninteresting. Sorry, loading. Here's the other gates I mentioned. You can go through these. It costs a movement to teleport from this one to this one. And you can actually, if you go in, say you go in on this hex, you don't have to go into the same kind of hex over here. You can go on whichever hex you want on those ones. Yeah, let's put that there. So where's my asteroids? Crying out loud. There we go. So here's some asteroids. So same with this one, but that's actually a system where you can buy everything. Asteroids, you can mine asteroids for spice from Arrakis, because all these asteroids are from Arrakis. So on a 1 to 10, you take that much damage. You can block it with your shields, but that's generally crappy. You can do 10 damage to your ship, and now suddenly your ship can't carry anything. So the second your ship, all hold spaces on your ship are filled, pardon me, with damage, you die. So on that Ghost Stalker ship I showed you earlier, it's got 9 hold space. So if you roll a 10 on a D20, if a 10 comes up, your ship just exploded unless you can block some with shields. If you roll 11 to 20, you get 1 spice into your hold. And that happens, so question marks are interesting in the game. Each question mark, it could have a random bonus on them. You could get resources, you get money. But if you get 2 of them, you can turn them in. I think you get 2,000 space bucks, and you go up a fame point. Or you might just get 2,000 space bucks, I can't remember. But to get that, you're going to have to go across the orange of the asteroids, which means you're going to have to roll your D20 and hopefully roll higher than a 10. Otherwise, you take that same damage. But leaving that, so say you're already on that and you stop. You're not going to take constant damage there. It's just the one-time thing. And then when you leave, you take no damage. So it's basically only going in, you'll take damage. And that applies for all asteroids everywhere. So what's worse than asteroids is debris. As I like to say, space debris. So you cross into them, you roll D20. On a 1 to 3, you die. On a 4 to 20, nothing happens. So space debris is a little bit more potent, as it just doesn't do damage, it just kills you. but that's where you can also mine space debris for Cypher in this case. And a 4 to 20 will get you 1 cube of Cypher that can go into your hold. You can't keep mining past your hold capacity, and they can't stack on top of each other. So 1 hold space per anything, pretty much. So if you got, this is the leak, we got the slow leak right here. Its hold is 17. So if you're ballsy and you stay on here for 17, say you got nothing in your ship, and you've rolled a d20 17 times, because it doesn't cost you any energy or any activation to mine. It costs you nothing except a d20 roll. You fill all this up. Say then you roll an 18th time. A 1, there's no reason to roll an 18th time because you can't fit any more cargo. Period. End of story. But say you do. And you roll a 1 to 3. You die. All your cargo is now where you left it. Where your ship exploded. Congratulations. Someone can come in, swipe that right up, and they actually don't have to roll. They just come and take it. So keep in mind any hold. So if you have engines in here or blasters or anything like that, all that takes up hold space. So easily with engines and a shield and say blasters, each one, basic ones, each one of those is 3, so you got 9. So you're only going to have 8 more hold space to put something in. So there's really no reason to keep going past what you can carry. So this is a green planet. Again, it's got the shield boundary, so you can only go in here unless you use the Ghost Stalker's ability to kind of bypass on the side. No penalty for going in and out. You can sell Cypher here, and you can buy Terra. So 1 cube of Cypher, anytime you sell anything, you sell it, 1 cube gets you 1,000 space bucks. And I think 2, if you sell 2 cubes, you get a fame. So it's almost always worthwhile to sell in pairs. But you can buy 2 Terra for 1,000 space bucks. So you always make money. It's one way to do it. So it's not one. It's 1 to 1 for selling. It's 2 to 1 for buying. So it's always a boon. So say, and there's an economy sheet, which I actually do think comes with the expansion that I'm going to show you in a second. We got a lot to cover still. But you have and there's an economy, an overall economy where certain events can happen and all the economy's wiped out. Which means you can't buy Terra anymore at this planet if the economy's wiped out. It has none. But say your hold has 4 Cypher. You sell 4 Cypher, it produces 4 Terra. So that's one way to keep the game going if you play with the expansion. You can wipe out the economy everywhere, which means you can't buy anything, but you can still sell it. And once you sell something, because Cypher and Terra on this planet are tied, you sell a Cypher, it develops Terra. So basically this is the resource it needs to make this. So it keeps the game going, and then it kind of fills in. The economy is a separate board. It's kind of about the same size as this, just a little smaller. You know, it's in 6 because there's only 6 resources. Oh, maybe it's 5. No, there was 6. There's another one. I can't remember what it was. But basically, it constantly can fill up when you sell and stuff like that. So, and I think when the economy's wiped out, you put 1,000 chit on each sector of the economy. So basically, the first person to sell Cypher, for example, gets an extra 1,000 on their sale. So you sell 4 Cypher, that's 4,000. You'll get 5,000 space bucks for it. Now let's talk about space bucks. So here's your money. These are metal chits. These are actually really nice. So these, the silver ones are 1,000 space bucks. And if you're an outlaw, you'll put 1,000 space bucks in that upper corner. That's your outlaw. That's your bounty. Someone else can come claim that, get 1,000 bucks off you because they kill you. You do more outlaw stuff, your bounty can increase. So, but these chits are 1,000 space bucks. And then they do have a 5,000 space bucks chit, which is kind of bluish green, but this is your 5,000 space bucks. So, turn in one of these, you can go upgrade from a tier 1 to a tier 2 ship. Pretty cool. So to cover that, here is Kempler 2. I talked about the Enforcer earlier. It's got a blue outline, which means it's a lawful planet, which I think means outlaws cannot go in it, period. End of story. And this is where the Enforcer starts. You can bypass. If you're an outlaw, say I'm an outlaw and I have the Ghost Stalker ship, I can come up here, bypass the shield if I roll well enough, and I can sell all my hollow and hopefully get out before freaking the Enforcer comes in, just lines me up and shoots me with missiles, which would suck. Can happen. So then you got pink, or the Felucia outline. This is a nebula. You can mine hollow in this nebula. But any nebula you cross, regardless if it's got a little icon up here telling you what you can and cannot do in it, you roll a d20. 1 to 10, you lose that much energy. So, I believe the Ghost Stalker ship had 8 energy. You roll in here, you roll a 10, you have no energy left. So you can't move any of your cylinders from disarmed to armed because it costs 1 energy per. But you still have your impulse engine, so you can still at least slowly move out of here. And you got to go to a planet. You end your turn on a planet. It replenishes all your energy for free. And if you have any disarmed, they go to armed because essentially you'd be burning energy to arm them. And then you're just going to refresh your energy anyway, so it goes all the way up. And that is free. But on a planet is where you can then spend your money to repair your ship or buy a new ship. So you can't just randomly spend 1,000 space bucks in space and repair your ship, your tier 1 ship to full. No, you have to be on a planet. So we already covered nebula, we covered space debris. Wasn't there another one? You got a lost sector, which is just a whole bunch of nothing. Some neutral planets. Here is the other, here's Loath, where the Scoundrel starts. Scoundrel starts here on that spawn point. So on the space asteroid I showed you first, you can buy all 5 of these resources. Here you can sell all 5 of the resources. Because on most of these planets you can only sell one thing. Actually on every planet you can sell one thing and buy one thing. But on the Scoundrel planet you can sell all of them. And on their asteroid, their smuggler's den, you can buy all of them. It's another neutral planet. Green is neutral. Here's the sun. Here's Zia. Or Zia, the sun that the game is actually named after. Yeah, you discover this. It's red barrier, which means death. Insta-death. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. You just die. So, I mentioned it costs an energy to scan. So you go here, there's a square here, and that they're keyed depending on where you want to scan from. So this is a square, and if you want to scan that area, you're going to line up the next one with the square. This also has a square, so basically you're going to line them up like so. So, magical. So you can spend an energy when you're at the edge to explore the next sector. Or you can blindly do it. So, say you're moving from here, You just sold all your Terra and you roll a 5 on your engine, so 1, 2, 3. You're like, screw it, I'm going to go 5 to here, blindly. Well, you'd have to pick, because there's a T here, so I'm going to assume it's going to be the T. So, if that's what happened, you're dead. You just explored into a sector of a zone of the sun, a hex of the sun, and you die. So, bad idea to do that, generally speaking. This is the only one that will instant kill you, is the sun. I mean, if you do a lost sector, which just happened a bit, yeah, ain't nothing can hurt you in this lost sector. So if the sun is out, you're pretty safe to do a blind jump, though keep in mind that with the expansion or with asteroid belts or something like that, you could still be jumping into stuff that can hurt you. So here's the engines. Here it's a 3x. Is that an engine? No, that's a blaster. What am I talking about? So this is, it's because I didn't put some of the stuff. So this is a blaster. Cost an activation. You roll a d6, and you only got 2 activations on this, and you can do some damage to people based on your 6-sided die. The blasters everything goes from a d6 to a d8 to a d12. d12 is the best you can buy. So this is the d8 blaster. Again, it's only got 2 activations, but basically it's got 2 free spots for damage if you really want. But it does a d8 damage. And then you have your huge blaster. See, look how awkward this thing is. Where would you even put that? You know, this d12, well, again, only 2 activations on it, and it's got basically 3 extra spaces, so if you want to take damage, you can throw them there without any penalty whatsoever. Still activate your d12 blaster twice. So missiles do a similar thing. They only have 1 activation, d8 for missiles, and they're at a range. I think 2 to 6 is the range. If you're adjacent to someone, you cannot shoot missiles. But missiles, there's only 2 kinds of... No, there's 3 kinds... there's 3 kinds of missiles. So missiles start at d8s. Here's a d12 missile. It's only got 1 activation. Again, it's got extra space. And then you have your d20 missile. Again, only 1 activation. but it does a d20 of damage. So if you roll a 20 on this thing, I don't really care what someone has for shields. They're pretty much gone. So that sucks. But this is a huge, huge boon. Not a lot of people did buy weapons when I played it. One or two. Towards the end of the game, everyone bought a weapon because everyone was trying to kill each other for points. But generally speaking, if you're playing with 5, 1 or 2 people will probably buy a weapon and then go hunting outlaws or whatever. So here's your base engine. It's got 3 activations, a D6 for each activation. Here's your next step up engine, your D8 engine. Again, it only has 3 activations, but you're moving up to a D8. And notice that the shape is different. And then you got your D12 engine. Again, different shape. 3 activations, but you can move up to a D12, which is kind of nice. So then blocking damage, you got your shield. Your basic shield, 2 activations, you can block a D6 damage on your shield. So someone shoots you with the blaster, you activate your shield, roll D6, you may come out of that with 0 damage. And then you got your D8 blaster, your shield, sorry. 3 activations, so you actually get an extra activation over your base shield, blocks a D8 of damage. And then you got your D12 shield. Again, you only got 3 activations for this. A couple extra spaces just in case you take damage. You can just throw them there and still use them. It blocks up to a D12 of damage, but it's a very awkward shape. So, you know, you put it there. You can't really put anything else anywhere around that because it eats up a lot of space. So that is that. So I did talk. You actually got, depending on what color you decide to pick, you put these around your ships because there's stands for your ships, so that's how you differentiate who's who. And then say you're the green player and you're an outlaw. Here's your outlaw thing, so that goes on top. So you still know you're the green player, but now everyone knows you're an outlaw. Here is the chit that goes on everyone's ship for your impulse engine. You flip it over, you've used your impulse engine, so it's an easy way to keep track. So here's some of these question marks that have popped up on these various maps. This has a question mark right there. All question marks. The second the sector comes out, you put your question mark there. You fly over it, you get the question mark. You keep it because it could give you a boon, but then you can turn in 2, I think, for a fame point. But this one has a fame point. So you get this one, you automatically get your fame point. And then say you get this one. I actually don't know what this X means. I'd have to look up the actual directions or instructions of the game rules for what the X's are, but you turn in 2 question marks, I think you get 2,000 bucks. No, you turn in 2, you get 2,000 space bucks or a fame point. You get one or the other. So that's them, and then let's go over, the shield showed up there randomly. So, did I show you, where did those go? Oh, here you are. Yeah, so all your cylinders for your activations. Here's a bunch of your ships. They start small, like tier 1 they go to tier 3, and I kind of just threw them all in here. I mentioned a merchant ship. Here is the merchant ship. There's stands here, I'm just not going to pull them out. So that's your merchant ship that goes from place to place. You know, here's a small tier 1 ship probably. Here is definitely a tier 1 ship. And then look how this guy, that's like a tier 3 ship probably. And this is actually the Slow Leak, which is a tier 3 ship we talked about. So the ships do generally get bigger. The higher tier they are. So this ship on here on the main board here is this ship right here. I want to say that's probably a tier 2 ship. It might be a tier 3. I'm not sure. I think it's that. I think that's like a Reality Ripper ship. So you got a whole bunch of these ships here that are actually really cool. And I got a couple more bags. I'm not gonna pull all of them out because you get the general idea, and they're all fairly cool. So we did talk about on here where you get titles that come out depending on who gets what first, and so the first person that hits 3 points, 3 fame points, will trigger a title card. Anyone can get the title cards once they come out. But so a title card, let's go a random one that I didn't read the first time I did this when I didn't have my microphone on. So the card that comes out is Traveler. It's a travel title card. You get this title, it's worth 2 fame points. So that's pretty good. I can't read. Thread the short and long paths. So basically you're doing the Kessel Run. Is someone texting me? Oh, no, never mind, sorry. So to claim this title, be the first player to in one turn, start by using the Tigris gate, which is that gate that randomly spews you out. Fly to the Exeter gate. Then fly to the Deltas gate. And then finally back to the Tigris gate. So you have to do that. So in one turn, this might be impossible to do unless you have really, really later in the game where you have really, really good engines, or you just buy a really, really good engine and go for it. Because you're going to be flying around a lot and you have to do all of this in one turn. But then you get this title forever, you're the Traveler, and you get 2 fame points for it. So that's pretty cool, but not all the titles give you 2, so most of them give you 1. That one was rather ridiculous in my opinion on what you had to do in order to get your 2 victory points there. But, I mean, your mileage will vary. Oh, no, I'm an idiot. So, and then, I don't know if we noticed, but, so we covered the question mark, but here's your exclamation point. So these are mission cards. Anytime you fly over it, you don't have to stop there, you fly over it, you get 3 mission cards, and then at the end of your turn, you can pick 1. So you could fly over, say, 5 of these during your turn. You'll have 15 mission cards. Pardon me. You pick 1, and they range from. These aren't shuffled, so I got a couple thief and a shuttle card. So let's talk about the shuttle one. So you have to pick up passengers from the TK421 sector. So these are all named a certain thing. I actually want to say I'm not sure where that sector is. But it's an asteroid sector because of the, you probably can't see that, but right there where it says what sector it is, it gives you a little indication, and I just noticed this asteroid one. Oh, here it is. Boom. It's the next asteroid one. So it has a little marker of what it is. So if it's a blue system, it'll say like Kepler 2, and it'll be in blue ink. If it's a neutral system, it'll be green, tell you the name of the planet. But if it's just a random sector and it's got debris or asteroids on it, it'll actually give you the little symbol, because that's actually the formal name of this sector is actually asteroid TK421. So it'll give you that little hint of what sector you need to go to for the shuttle quest. So this is you're going to shuttle them, so you're going to pick them up in the asteroid. Anywhere in this sector, you're going to pick them up. Doesn't matter where you are, you're going to pick them up. Actually, no, you're not. I think you have to actually pick them up at the exclamation point, the mission thing. I think you have to go there and pick them up. Actually, I'm virtually certain. You go to the mission, pick them up. Then, payment is determined by shortest flyable distance from pickup to delivery. You're going to deliver the passengers at the mission marker on the Tigris gate. So if you had to fly only 1 to 2 sectors, you're only going to get 2,000 space bucks. If you had to fly 3 to 4 sectors, you're going to get 3,000 space bucks. If you had to fly 5 or more sectors, 4,000 space bucks. And it's exclamation point to exclamation point. So a lot of these cards, and then you keep the shuttle quest. So basically you would tuck it in underneath your ship, so you shuttle. And what that does is your next shuttle quest, you can immediately go to the higher tier ones. So say your next shuttle quest does the exact same thing. 1 to 2 sectors gives you 2,000 space bucks. No, your 1 to 2 would actually give you 3,000 space bucks. So the more missions you do of the same kind, you then go to the higher level rewards more quickly. So this other mission is a thief mission. So let's cover this one real quick because I actually don't know what these do. So you're going to track down and acquire items. So you're going to target your player on your left, whoever's sitting there. And you're going to steal. You're going to fly to the target ship and make a theft attempt, which is a D20. You're going to roll a D20. And on a 1 to 5, mission fails. You're now an outlaw. Your bounty's 1,000 bucks. You roll a 6 to 12. You stole some. You get 3,000 bucks. You roll 13 to a 17. You stole most. You get 4,000 bucks. You roll an 18-20. You stole all for 5,000 space bucks. Deliver goods at the mission at neutral planet, so it's got an N in green for neutral, and then the planet name, Neo Damascus, and you get your 5,000 space bucks for that if you stole everything. So, and then this goes in tucked under, so you got a thief mission. So basically, then you steal some, you actually steal most, and you get 4,000 instead of 3,000. So they add up fairly quickly. The more missions you can do, generally, the better off you'll be. And that's pretty much it for the base game. It's good. We didn't play the base game, so I'm actually going to go over fairly quickly. I'm going to put a bunch of this stuff back because it's going to add up. I'm going to leave the actual scorecard out because I know that changes with the expansion and makes the explaining something on the expansion a lot more easy to explain. So let me throw this in here real quick. Throw away. Yeah, put those in first and then put the mission cards in. That's fine. Put all these guys away. So take a second. Apologies. You know what? I screwed up at con. Because there are some. There's a vendor there. There's a vendor room at this con. And in the vendor room, they actually had stuff you could buy, which are actually inserts for games. So I should have, knowing I was going to buy this game when I got back, because I did know I was going to buy it, because it's a great game. I'll leave this up, though, as I move stuffs around. So they have inserts for the box, and they're wooden. You have to glue them together. It's like balsa wood, or it's actually probably a little bit better than balsa wood. But you put them in your box, and now everything fits in your box super duper well. Because some boxes, I mean, this came with plastic trays for all the miscellaneous shields, engines, stuff like that. But if I got one of the wooden inserts, it would have been so much better. And I did say I was going to leave that out for a second. So now, this is the game I actually played. Embers of a Embers of a Forsaken Star. So this is the expansion for this game. I'll let you know right now, the base game I bought on Amazon. It is $85 on Amazon. You get a lot of cool stuff. I think the expense is there because the ship minis are all really cool, and the quality of the money is outstanding. But it's an expensive game. And this is the expansion. I bought the Kickstarter version, which granted I don't know what the difference between the Kickstarter and non-Kickstarter version is, but the expansion is $50. So all said and done, $135. So it is a very expensive game. It's actually one of the more expensive games. Well, other than the games I've Kickstartered. Oh my god. So what was it? It was which game was that one? I just got my Lords of Hellas is a game I Kickstartered, and once it comes in, I have no idea when it comes in. I'm going to do a full unboxing for that. But I did the Titan pledge for that one, which was 189 pounds, which is like 200 something bucks. So I spent an exorbitant amount of money on that game. It's got a ton of minis, really cool minis. Some minis are freaking huge. Yeah, but then the pledge manager came out, and I ended up spending an additional 200 pounds on that. So Kickstarter, I go a little bit crazy on Kickstarter for some of these games. So they add up really fast and get super duper expensive. So difference between those. So now you still get title cards pretty much at the same time you get title cards on the original game, right? So at 3, 6, 9. So basically every 3 you get a title card on both of these. But what the new expansion gives you is event cards. It's on 1, 4, 7, 10. So basically you have the title card, you get an event card, then title, then event, title, event, title, event. So event cards are different. When event cards come out, they're not like titles. A certain thing happens, and you have an X number, you have a certain amount of time to do whatever it was, and I'll cover that good. But this is really cool because the events I thought offered something more to the game. I thought they were pretty cool. So you do get another level 1 ship, and I don't know if I covered. There's a background for the ship, and I think if you win, there's some kind of story, victory story. Okay, so let's say you win with the Vagabond ship. So your victory story: Lady Luck, it seems, has taken a shine to you. Your fame has made you powerful, and power has its privileges. You settle into a home on Lunari, find time for lawn bowling, alright, host your own reality show, and wear new socks every day. So yeah, so you win with this ship, there you go. You get your own victory story, which is kind of cool. As you get new ships, they're all pretty much the same. You get a couple new Tier 2 ships, and then you get one new Tier 3 ship, which is pretty cool. And this says it's not even a ship. It's more than a ship. The backstory. The Carriac isn't just a ship. She's a portal, a looking glass. The ability to gaze upon the starscape and pierce the hearts of other ships is power beyond measure. Power, they say, corrupts. You know how you wish to harness this power and propel yourself to greatness? But the struggle is real. Soon, whether for good or ill, all the void will know your name. So this is a powerful ship. I don't know what its ability is. When I open that card, I'll definitely take a look. So, oh my god, hey! Chits I haven't seen before, yeah! Oh, hey, there's a couple more chits that I actually had popped out, so let's cover some of these. So this is this is the Brink. So this is probably one of the first ones you'll see where it's actually got some kind of path on it. So you land on the path, only the first time you land on the path, you can then move on the path afterwards without penalty, but the second you move on that path, you roll a d6. And then you're moved along the path, whatever you roll. So, because this one's kind of close to this little planet, which gets you some mission, and this is a neutral planet here, where you may or may not have to deliver passengers or some other mission. You can't get into it unless you have the Ghost Stalker's ability, but you can't get into it without hitting this path, which triggers instantly how much you move down. Granted, so say you're trying to get to Tig, which is what the planet is. It has nothing but missions. You hit that thing and you roll d6 and go 2. So you're actually going to move 2, but you can activate your ship to go back in there. So it only bunks you 2, it moves you 2 away, but then you can just immediately come back up. Not a huge deal. However, if you stay on the track and it pushes you all the way into the nebula, you do have to roll your d20, and you possibly lose up to 10 energy because you got dumped into a nebula. So you got to be cautious around that. This one's worse. Farron's Call. It's got a double path. It's a black hole, as clear as day by the skull and the red barrier that we talked about earlier. That's insta-death. Anyway, you're on the outside track. It's going to push you in. Then you're going to go on the orange track, and then eventually that will kill you. So, but there's 2 question marks on the inside track. Just what you don't want to do, trust me, is you don't want to be on this track, this outer track, get moved to here and be like, oh, I'm going to hop, skip, and jump, get that question mark and hop out. Yeah, no. Because that is right at the entrance to the black hole. You're right on the cusp there, just outside the event horizon there. But the second you touch that, you roll a d6. Hey, the minimum on a d6 is a 1 last I checked. You die. So, the only way you can get in there is you're going to have to kind of fly in, hit that. Hopefully it doesn't roll 6, because if you're here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 kills you. So if you land here, hopefully it doesn't roll a 6, but whatever else it rolls, you can then get both of these and then fly the crap out of there. Because otherwise, you will die. So, and if you want to activate blindly like we did before, where we're just going to drift, we're not going to explore, we're just going to blindly jump there. You can jump, you won't jump on the orange, so you're at least safe from there, but you will. Because there's no safe hex on this thing where you're not in the gravitational well of that black hole. So you will, if you go in here at all, you're always going to trigger the D12 spinning in. So, but D12 you're going to have time. So one thing the expansion also gives you is little one-offs where you can add. So this little guy, this is a GTS, costs 1,000 space bucks, takes up 1 area in your ship, and it gives you a +2 to engines. So you have a D6 engine, say you got the basic engine, you throw this guy on here, your cap is still 6. But if you roll a 4, you move 6. If you roll a 5 on your D6 engine, you move 6. If you roll a 6 on your D6 engine, you move 6. And it doesn't cost you anything. Well, just 1,000 space bucks, but you don't have to spend energy or anything like that to activate. It automatically activates. It just, you can't exceed the cap of your engine. And that's every roll. I mean, your engines have 3 activations. If you roll a 6 on all 3, hey, you're moving 18. You ain't moving 24. Which, not a huge deal. You also get mission computers. So I mentioned before, every time you go over an exclamation point, like this one, you get 3 mission cards, and at the end of your turn, you pick 1. Even if you have a stack of 24, you pick 1. If you have your mission computer, you can now support up to 3 missions at any one time. So These are good. 1,000 space bucks takes up one section, but the expansion gives you those two, which is really cool. Oh, holy bejesus. I missed some of these. There's other cool stuff on here that you get. Sorry, cracking my neck. It's a shield enhancer, and you have to put it over a shield activation slot. So you can't just put it for free. These have to go on your shields. I actually think you don't have to put it on the actual activation slot. You can put it on the free slot. All shields have, but it has to go on top of your shields. Unlike these, which just sit randomly in your hull, this has to go on top of your shields. But say you go through asteroids and you don't want to roll a d20 and take potential damage. You put one of your arm things on there, one activation on top of this. You have max shields against environmental damage. So, and it's max. So basically you throw a chit on there, you throw an activation on there, you take 0 damage from any environmental damage. With one exception, debris. Because debris kills you. Debris is unblockable damage. If you take unblockable damage, you cannot block with shields, period. So debris is a 1 to 3 death. This shield will not help you against debris. It will help you everywhere else. Throw that when you go into a nebula. Take 0 energy damage on your nebula, so that's nice. This one is a piercer blaster. So again, it goes on top of your blasters, and what that does is when you blast someone with your blaster, it pierces their shields. So say they have a d6 shield and they roll a 6, and you're only doing 3 damage, and you're like, well, that freaking sucks. If you had activated this one, oh, their shields are actually only 2, and you do 1 point of damage. So this pierces up to 4 shields, but that's it. I mean, you could have multiples of these, but each of these requires an activation to use. So, and they go on top of your blasters, so you don't just get that for free. So what else this does? You know what? I'll pop some of these other ones too, because they're more question marks. So those are always interesting. So these do, and you know what? We'll save that one until I get a planet for it. But here you go. You also get this thing. So this is a cargo. What I'm showing you right now is a cargo extender. So say on your crappy ship, crappy because it's a tier 1, you have all this configured and you only have one hold space left for cargo. You slap this, the green has to go there, but if the green goes there, now you actually have that one hold space now actually became 4. Takes up 1 original, so you can put something there, but now you have 3 extra hold space for that. So basically these are extenders, they stick outside your ship, and it gives you actually more hold space. It's 1,000 space bucks for that, but you know that increases. It actually does also increase the damage your ship can take, but also might make you a target if you have like 5 of these things sticking off your ship left and right, and you just have a ton of cargo. People are probably going to come finding you. Flip it over. Now you have armor plating. So before, when you take damage, it could start affecting systems where you lose activation of your systems. You can put armor plating on your ship. It still only takes 1 hold space. So you fit it on like that. Only takes that 1 hold space out of the 11 this came with. So that's 10 unaffected. And it gives you 4 armor. So basically these are where you would put your damage first because nothing's there. With this, you can take 4 damage without a single ship, without a single system being affected, and without your cargo hold being affected. So these are actually good. It's good to mix between. It's good for the cargo extender and armor plating. It's a good idea to start mixing and matching those because being able to block damage is always nice, and being able to just throw damage at something and while the rest of your ship is completely scot-free is very, very nice. So here is, I need to show you this one before I showed you something else. This is a dead world. So, still got a mission thing. You can still get missions from Dead World. Still got a question mark. But you can excavate. What are these called? Artifacts. And artifacts do take up 2 hold spaces. You can put them in your extenders. And there's 4 of them on here. So you can do, and these give you different bonuses. But when you mine for these, a 1 to 10, you take that much ice damage, which is really bad. You roll 11 or higher, you can excavate 1 artifact. There's only 4 of them, so you can actually fill your hole up fairly quick. Staying on here, you only have to roll 4 times to get all of them, and then this plan is done. It puts up 8 items in your hold. So basically, it could be the equivalent of 8,000 space bucks, like your cargo would go, for half the rolls. And these artifacts all are different. You can get either, so you can either get a fame point, or you can get 2,000 space bucks and 2 plasma. So basically, yes, this one thing right here can get you a fame point, or it can get you basically 4,000 space bucks worth of goods for 1 excavation. So that's pretty freaking good. But now that I've talked about ice damage, holy moly, they give you a bunch of, oh, holy moly, they give you a whole bunch of extra worlds. Oh, here's the economy board I mentioned. I'll bust this out right now. Yeah, this is the back. Always pop from the back. So here's your economy board. So it tells you what makes what. So you sell Terra, it develops Hollow. Cypher, it develops Terra, vice versa, stuff like that. So an event pops up. It's an event that'll do it. It'll wipe out all of this. So you won't be able to go to any planet and buy any resource. You can sell, and then that will produce the good that you can buy there. And then usually if the economy's wiped out, there'll be like 1,000 space bucks waiting for you. For the first person to sell a certain item, you get 1,000 space bucks for it. Or if it produces, I think it's when you sell it. So that's the economy token. Now they give you a lot of extra worlds and stuff like that. I don't know what the EV is, but this is where we started. So let's bust this one out. So this is where we started our game. And death in the middle. But you'll notice this just goes all the way around. There's no death involved with this because this is the kiln, which is this ship right here. There's a little ship for it. I'll bust it out in a second, but here's a little ship for it. That is the kiln. The kiln has some cool stuff on it. Let's see if I can find where the kiln is. Because there's actually a chit for the kiln. There's actually a... What? Where is it? Is there not? Oh, what? Hold the phone. Where'd it go? No, I do want to talk about that, but... Where is... It might be a card, actually, now that I think about it. But the kiln's got 3 spaces you can sell and all that stuff on the kiln. But once you dock with the kiln, roll D6, and it moves along this track up to that roll. So basically the kiln is always just orbiting this star. So I did mention... actually, I don't know if it was this time or when I was talking for an hour to myself. Typical day. There'll be comets. So here is an idea of a comet. So you hit anywhere on this path, and you roll D6, and the comet will come around. If your ship is, say, here, and that's the first time you hit this path, you roll D6 and roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't hurt you. If you're up here and you roll a 6, the comet kills you. The comet hits you, you die. Which sucks. But so death in this game is not bad. If you're a tier 1 ship and you die, you lose your cargo, any cargo you had in there. You keep everything else you had on your ship, like any cargo extenders, any computers, any shields, any engines. You have 1 point of damage, and you spawn on like a random spawn point, I think. But you have 1 point of damage for a tier 1 ship. You have 2 points of damage for a tier 2 ship, and you'll have 3 points of damage for a tier 3 ship. And you'll lose all your cargo. But that's pretty much the only penalty you'll have from dying. And that's regardless of how you die. Oh, now I know what those EVs are. Events. So this gives us another resource, which I want to say this is timber, which is, you know what? I need to... I kind of need to find that card, and I'm not sure where it is. So let's open these. I'm going to open these because the kiln is where you sell the new resource, so that's why I wanted to find where the kiln is. Yeah, just throw these on the floor. I own the house. I don't give a crap. So here's you're next to the ship. So your new... No, what? The heck is this? Oh, I think this is a ship you can randomly find, is this ship. Oh, here's some more. Oh, they have new. They have new cards for some of the, like the Manchester was a Nightshade. They got new cards for. Oh, a little cheat sheet for the NPC ships. There is a solo game. I actually might play the solo game. Because why not? Get a little bit more familiar with the game. I might actually play some solo rules. I didn't know I could play the game solo. I think that's actually really cool. I do like games that give you an option to play solo. And actually, I might do some kind of stream for solo gaming. I don't know. I don't think I'll do a stream for that. I'll probably just record it. Because solo gaming, I don't think anyone's going to give a crap. So there's no real point to stream that. There'd definitely be a point to stream the actual game itself. Playing other people in the game, because then you get the interactions with everyone. You know, someone shoots someone, you call them an asshole, move on, stuff like that. But throw on the floor. Trying to find. Oh, right out loud. Static. Vagabond ship. Ah, okay. So the Carriac, which was it's a portal. It's not a ship. So it redirect attacks into energy. So maybe that's why. So as an action on the Carriac, spend 4 energy to heal 1 point of damage. That is amazing. So when activating the shield outfit, before spending armed markers, roll a d20. 1 to 4, nothing happens. 5 to 11, for every 2 damage prevented, gain 1 energy. Roll 12 to a 19. Oh, see, as an action, so this is separate. So 12 to a 19, for every 1 point of damage prevented, gain 1 energy. Roll 20, for every 1 damage prevented, gain 2 energy. So basically, you gain energy from this ability before spending as rearm shields. So yeah, that is very interesting. Here's the kiln. So this is actually what I was looking for. Is that a mission card? So I'm getting some new mission cards. So here's the kiln. So kiln is a ship that basically flies around the center star. It doesn't really do much of anything. It is a fairly large ship. Looks kind of cool. There's your kiln ship. Fairly big. But it's got 3 spots. So 3 people can actually be in the kiln. And you do have to hit the certain spots to do certain things. So you have to hit the mission spot to get mission cards. And you have to go to the sell spot. So this, you can sell Ember, which is the new resource you get with this game. So now you have 6 resources in the game. So you get Ember. So in the common area, some of the common areas will be Ember. So you can kind of mine them there because it's ice stuff. So in the kiln is where you can do that. You may enter exit from any adjacent space into the kiln. But then you roll, the second you're at dock, you roll d6 and it will move. So it will be moving after you load. So, but I mentioned ice damage from that ruined planet, or the dead planet. So here's your ice damage chits. So they look just like your regular damage chits. They're blue instead of orange. These are bad. So, say for example, I'll move that here. I have to lean forward for some of this. So, say for example, you took, we'll take the Vagabond ship. Why not? You took 1 point of frost damage, of ice damage. Yeah. Now these all go away the second you dock anywhere. So even at the kiln, they all go away. So you take 1 point of ice damage here, right? So you put it in your hold. Say you're dumb and you put it here. So that's 1 point of ice damage, right? Right there. The front of the ship, where it was 1. However, as long as it's still there at the end of your turn, it spreads. So if you put it at the front of your ship, where there's only 1, so it only go to 1, it goes to 1. Not terrible. If you don't fix that the next time, hey, that now hits 3 spots. So that's how ice can propagate. So what you want to do is put the ice as far away as possible from it spreading to more than 1 or even 2 hold spaces. So if you put this on the engine of the Vagabond, it starts here. Oh great, autofocus is now running. I don't know why. It starts here, but it'll only move 1, and then only move 1 again. But then it's going to move 2, and then it's going to move So it moves the 1, 2, 1, 2, no, 1, 2. It's still only going to move 2. But, so, placement for ice damage is very, very important. Why are you autofocusing like crazy, dude? You're annoying me. Alright, let me stop this. For some reason, I have autofocus turned off for this thing. I am not sure why it's randomly deciding that it's going to start autofocusing on me again. Autofocus. Oh crap, focus. I don't understand how I... Okay, apparently I turned autofocus on, so apologies. I have not been paying attention to that, so I don't know how bad that got. It might have gotten really, really terrible, but yeah, tomato, potato. So ice damage, back to ice damage. Ice damage is bad. But you don't have to pay anything for ice damage. You just land on a planet, you end your turn on a planet, end your turn in the kiln, it all goes away. You don't have to pay a thing. So that's nice. So you get a few more space bucks, and you get your comets, which are cool. Okay, you do get some stands. So this is that ship, the Carriac. So that's pretty badass looking. You get 3 comets, which are insta-death. They just kill your ship. And you get your other 2 guys that came with this thing. So other cool ships there. No Vagabond. Or this is the Vagabond. Is this the Vagabond? This is the Vagabond. Okay, so you do get the Vagabond. And there you go. The other things you get are event cards, which I haven't gone over yet. You still get more title cards, and you get a bunch of stuff for the solo game, but you get event cards, which are new to the expansion. So the event. So say on round, whoever gets Fame 1 triggers an event. Wormholes. This is the event. The system is porous, like Garnian cheese, which I'm not a fan of cheese, but I'm not sure I would eat that either. Even if I like cheese, I don't think I'd eat that. So while this card is in play, all spawn points are now connected to each other and provide special movement similar to gates. Whenever someone uses the spawn points for special movement, roll a d20. On a 1, the wormhole collapses and the ship using the wormhole is destroyed. That sucks. And basically, yeah, so it costs a movement. Yeah, cost a movement, and there you go. You roll a d20 to see if it collapses. If it doesn't, it's a movement, just like the gate. Say you're on... Any of these have spawn points? No, of course not. Okay, then none of these have spawn points. Does this have a spawn point? No. So, you're on a spawn point. Say 19. That's where the Tigger's Gate was a spawn point, right? 19. Roll a 20. Hey, nothing. Use the movement to go to a different spawn point. So you can super hop around the galaxy with that. So if this event card came out and that Traveler title came out, like I was talking about earlier, you could very easily hit all of that stuff because all those gates are connected. So you can go, Tigger's Gate is random and you have to start there, which kind of sucks. But it's right next to a spawn point. So you can go there, not roll a 1. Now use special movement to go closer to one of the other gates. Hit up the gates, because the gates are connected, so you can basically hit both of them up like that. And then do another spawn point close to Tigris, and have it go again. And this card stays into effect until the wormholes collapse. I don't know if that means all of them, or if one of them. Oh, never mind. All of them. On a 1, all wormholes collapse, not just yours. Yeah, the wormholes collapse and the ship using the wormhole is destroyed. So I read the one that it was the one you were on. No. So the first person that rolls the 1 ends this event. So that event is done. But while this event is active, anyone can use it. So that's actually pretty cool. That's a really cool event. Let's do another one. A variable star. Near is an unstable phase. So this is near. This started in the very the very center of our board, so I think this is a starting one if you're playing the expansion. So while this card is in play, if Near is in play at the end of each round, Solar Flare. Any player's ships up to 1 sector away from Near take D8 ice damage, blockable. So you can use your ships to bypass that. Ships inside the kiln take no damage. Then place 1 damage on this card. So every time if it's in play at the end of each round, that's after each person goes. No, never mind. That's one round is when everyone goes. This card leaves play when there are 3 damaged cards on this target. So this actually stays in play for 3 full rounds. So that's potential for really bad stuff to happen to you. So those are what event cards do. And then you have more mission cards and all that other good stuff. So, but basically, it adds a couple new things to the game. It adds a solo setup to the game, which I kind of like. I have no idea. I think what happens in the solo, I'm going to have to read up on that because I might try to play around the solo by myself. And there's like solo, this is solo cards, so I'm not sure what they do either. So it might be a time-based thing, or you might actually play NPCs that do a specific thing, like there might be player 2, player 3, player 4, whatnot, that randomly do stuff depending on what's going on. So, but that's basically in a nutshell it. So it's a really, really fun game. It takes a really long time to play, especially if not everyone knows how to play. It really takes hours. For 5 players, it took us 5 hours. Box says 1 to 3. This says 1 to 4. So basically, if you're playing the expansion, you can then ignore the 1 to 3 hours. It's going to be the 1 to 4 hours because there's a bunch more stuff going on. You got ice comets and all that stuff you got to pay attention to. A 6th resource, event cards, which can be quite difficult or challenging because they're going to be all over the place. One was, hey, wormholes everywhere, woohoo! The other one is, hey, near is unstable, everyone takes ice damage. Holy crap, Batman! So that's a lot of stuff. So that probably adds up an hour, but it will take. It's got a steep learning curve, but I played it once for 5 hours, and I feel fairly confident that brushing up on a couple of the rule sets, I'll be good to go. Because it's once you know how to play the game, it's very easy to remember how to play the game because the rules are actually fairly simple. There's just quite a bit of them. And so there you go. And that's this game in a nutshell. A bunch of mission cards, a bunch of event cards, title cards. You got extra added stuff you can build on your ship. You get artifacts now with the expansion. The kiln is with the expansion, which I didn't know. I thought the kiln came in the base game. You get the economy board and all that other good stuff. So you get a lot of good stuff with this expansion. I mean, they gave you, how many planets did they give me? So I opened, these are all from the expansion. I'll move this over here because there's no point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 planets. Might as well pop it. Why not? 6. This is an ice asteroid. But this is now where you get your Ember. In the ice asteroid field is where you can mine that resource. But keep in mind, there's that comet going around where, so when you come in, you're going to cross that trail, it's going to move the comet. If it hits you, it does not push you, it blows you up. And then when you leave, you're going to hit that comet trail also. So you really have to pay attention in this card. And there's ice damage, which really sucks. So if you go for Ember, which you can sell at the kiln. You can sell Ember at the kiln. I think it's actually the only place where you can actually sell Ember is at the kiln. So if you come here and you want to go back to the kiln, you gotta pay attention to where the comet is and whether or not it can hit you or not. So if it hits you, you dead. So here's another gate. I did say that there was more than the 3 gates. So this is a 4th gate. So you have 3 stable gates now, and then you have the Tigris gate, which is unstable. But all of these gates, the 3 stable gates, are all connected. So if you get really good placement of them, because when you do your scans, it's all random what comes up. So if you're really good, you can go boom, 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 all corners of the galaxy, no problem, super quick because of the gates. If they're all next to each other, it's completely and utterly useless, other than you get the fame point for going through them first. What is this one? This one is another ice asteroid area. Another place where you can harvest Ember. But again, there's an ice comet, and you're going to trigger going in to get the Ember, and you're going to trigger coming out with Ember. So, and if you blow up, you drop your cargo. So just keep that in mind. Because if you're mining a ton of Ember, and then you don't pay attention to the comet, and it blows you up, all your Ember's still there. You just don't have it. So here's another dead world. So it's got another excavation point for it. That's cool. This is... What the hell is this? This is another dead world with ice asteroids nearby. So dangerous because if you go through them, ice damage sucks. And it's a dead world. So I said earlier, if you're on a world, ice damage goes away immediately. I don't think that applies to a dead world. I think it can't apply to a dead world because you take ice damage on a dead world. So if you go through here, take a couple points of ice damage, this place will not save you. This place can only increase your pain. So you got to pay attention to that stuff. Man, they give you a nice good stack of more sectors to explore. Ah! The chasm. Or as I like to say, the chasm. I just get a kick out of that. So it's an outlaw world here. And you can trade. You can change any of the 6 base resources. So, 5 base resources, so not Ember, into any other one. So you can trade Terra for Cipher if you want. Which works if you have a planet here. Say you got a buttload of Cipher and the planet here sells Cipher. Well, that ain't going to do you any good. You don't want to... you can buy Cipher from that world. That ain't going to do you any good, right? Because, you can't... You're full of Cipher. Why would you buy more Cipher? You can trade it to whatever they sell, and you can just start selling. So that'd be cool. Outlaw planet, so that kind of sucks. So it's got 2 gravity things going on. You hit the purple trail, it's going to kick you out. You hit the orange trail, it's going to kick you out. So either way, it kicks you out. And then, I honestly don't think this... Pardon me, the yellow thing does anything. I honestly don't think it does anything. It's just an anomaly. But it's basically a gravitational anomaly. So this outlaw planet is very well protected. You hit this orange one, you're going to go this way. And then you can just fly back and go in if you really, really want. Or if you come from the other side and you hit the purple, you're going to go that way, but then you can kind of cross over and then hope. But there's 2 entrances to this outlaw world, which there's only ever usually 1 entrance to any one world. So they really want you here. But then you'll be flagged an outlaw. Unless you have the Ghost Stalker drive and can maybe kind of bypass that. But the Ghost Stalker drive does not let you bypass any of these, the path things where they move you along. You cannot bypass those. You can only bypass planetary protections. And if you roll 20 on that Ghost Stalker ability, it gives you 2 passes. Means you can go in without penalty and then come out without penalty. You will not be an outlaw if you want to go in here and you use that ability. So there you go. Other than, we got some more, you just get more armor or cargo pods are called, more artifacts, some more question marks, like this question mark. You go up on the question mark, you get a plasma chit. I don't know if you can see that. You get a plasma if you go over that question mark. So they do cool stuff. They give you cool stuff. And that's kind of it. That's in the nutshell the game. And you, what the heck is this? Ah! Ha ha ha! I don't know why they didn't have this in the frickin' before. Whatever. But they give you a first player chit, which is always nice to have a first player chit. And the rule, if someone doesn't pass... Actually, no. This first player does not ever pass. They're a first player forever. So, actually, that's why this is important. I'm glad I talked myself into a corner, and now I can talk myself out of it. Because I was going to mention your Cylon if you don't pass the first player chit. In this game, you never pass the first player chit. But, so say you're playing to 15 points. And I'm first player. And the person to my left, so they're player 2, they hit 15. And we're playing a 5-player game. That means player 3, 4, and 5 are all able to take full turns because they want the same number of turns for everybody. But me, since I didn't hit the 15, wherever I am is wherever I am. I get 0 more turns because I was first player. So if 5th player does it, so say 5th player ends it, the game's over. No one gets an extra turn because 5th player ended the game by hitting the number. Because everyone gets an action to do stuff. You can buy fame points and all that stuff with your space bucks, but you can only do that on your turn. So a 5th player, so you got 20,000 space bucks just burning a hole in your pocket. And I think at the end of the game, or anytime during the game. I think one fame point's like 5,000 space bucks. It might be less. Let's just say it's 5,000. So basically, you got 4 fame points in your pocket right now that you want to go again. You're going to spend it all because then you're going to hit 15 there. But then the 5th player ends it, and you were first player with all that space bucks. Yeah, that stuff's worthless to you now. Worth 0. Might as well just jettison out. Might as well space it because it's the next pirate coming along. It might be useful for them. It ain't useful for you. So you have to pay attention to that. So whoever's getting close to ending the game, if you're first player, you are not going to get any extra turns. If you end it and you're first player, everyone behind you gets an extra turn. So keep that in mind because you could be winning the game. You hit 15. You're like, I'm first player. I'm going to crush everybody. And then everyone behind you also hits 15 or hits 16. Now you lose because you ended it. Might be better to get where you need to be and get really, really close, or maybe try to get a little bit more points after that. So there you go. In a nutshell, that's Zia, Legends of a Drift System, and Zia Embers of a Forsaken Star. It's a really fun game. I highly recommend it. To get both of these, it is going to run you about $135, which kind of sucks. It's one of the more expensive games that I've just randomly purchased off the interwebs. So other than Kickstarter's just a whole nother ball game. So it is fairly expensive, but it is a very fun game. They have a solo mission, which I didn't even know happened, so you can play by yourself. You can control how long the game lasts depending on how many points you want to go to. I mean, nothing says you have to go to 5, 10, 15, or 20. You could go to 9 if you so desire, Title pops out. Anyone else after you can get it. Unless they're the 5th player, then it's just over. So it's got a lot of replayability because you could just trade the whole game, get money, get your new ships, and keep going. Earning the points as you can, or you can decide to fight because you do get points for destroying ships, enemy ships, NPC ships, and other player ships. So, actually, if you destroy enemy NPC ships, I think you just get money. So, or something. I can't remember. I have to look at the rules. So, but yeah, it's a very fun game. I basically had to beat my buddy to buy it because he wanted to buy it too, and I'm like, dude, I'll just buy it, and so I just bought it. So yeah, looking really forward to playing this game. Might try it solo, but I might just try my friends on Thursday. It's board game night at their house, so I might just end up we get to play a game, and I'm going to be bringing this, so at least 5 of us can play this game. Though that's a Thursday night, this game takes a long time to play, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But that's all then. You can shorten it by having less fame points to win the game. So, great game. Highly recommend it, and I actually can't wait to play the game again. So, until next time, have a good one.